friends, today I'm going to talk about my January 2021 TBR. Maybe you have watched my December TBR and saw that I said, yeah, I'm taking a relaxed approach this month. Yeah, that was for 1 month only. I have a significant number of books that I want to read in January. I have started some of them and I will not finish some of them in January. So I think I can manage them, and even if I can't, it's alright. So let's start with the book that I'm currently in the middle of. I have talked about this book so much in my channel that I'm getting bored of this book, actually. A History of Time by A.M. Gombrich. Because I keep listening to other audiobooks while I'm in the middle of this middle grade nonfiction history book. This book kept being delayed, but this time, since I reached almost the half of it, I plan to quickly finish it in the beginning of the month and then be done with that book. The next book on my TBR is my Agatha Christie book of the month, The 13 Problems by Agatha Christie. It's a short story collection of Miss Marple. I previously skipped this book when I was binge reading the series because I thought I never liked detective short stories because it didn't have enough time to explore the mystery. Although I'm still not a big fan of that genre, I have read quite decent examples of detective short stories. And I read other short stories by Agatha Christie and they were really good. So I trust in my favorite author and I will definitely try this short story collection. And by just reading another book after this, I will be completely done with Miss Marple's series. The next book belongs to the series that I picked up in my series cup. When I was doing my 2021 goals, I will put a clip of which series that I draw. So I'm choosing the first series that I will binge read in 2021. Well, this is the series. Yeah. Oh! A long series actually. Percy Jackson's series by Riordan. So we are starting the year with middle grade. The next book in my TBR is The Lightning Thief by Riordan. I have heard so many good things about this middle grade fantasy series, and it was one of the series that I chosen for that cup because I just wanted to read it in 2021. And I'm really glad that I picked this series because I really like a good middle grade fantasy. And now we have the book that was recommended by a booktuber, Austenland by Shannon Hale. This book was recommended to me exactly 1 year ago by Tia at Tia and All the Book. And we plan to buddy read this book together with Margaret Pinard. And this will be my first buddy read with her, but considering how much we enjoy replying our comments, I think it will be a great buddy reading experience. As far as I know, Austenland is a book in which a contemporary heroine goes through sort of like a fantasy land for Jane Austen lovers, and then romantic adventures wait her there. That's all I know about the book, and that's all I really need to know, because as most of you know, I love Jane Austen. And after that, I have 3 more buddy reads. The first book that I'm going to buddy read in the month, according to the schedule, is When Comes the Spring by Janette Oak, the second book in Canadian West series. And we will buddy read this book with Rainey from Rainey Day Reads. We buddy read the first book together, and it was the coziest book that I've read in 2020, and I'm really eager to read this lovely story, which felt like a hug when I was reading the first book. For the next 2 books that I will buddy read, we do not plan to finish the book in January because both books are quite long books, and we will finish both of them in February. I will read the first book, Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, with Naomi from Naomi's bookshelf, and I'm really excited about this buddy reading. I love the Mocante of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. It's one of my favorite classics, and I quite enjoyed the Black Tulip by the same author. And I've heard that Three Musketeers is the most action-packed book of Alexandre Dumas, and I think he does these kinds of scenes best. And Naomi and I buddy read books together frequently. Sometimes we do not like the book as much as we like the buddy reading experience, but it's always a pleasure to buddy read a very different genre of books with Naomi. The second book that I will start in January but finish in February is The Outlander, the first book in Outlander series. Actually, this is the only book that I planned for 2020 but could not read. I will buddy read this book with from Kim's Book Life. I also have a special project about this book. I will do a reading vlog of Outlander because I have watched and loved the TV series adaptation, and I sort of want to compare the experience of reading the book with the adaptation, and also if I like the series and plan to continue, I will continue with my reading vlogs as well. So I think it will be a both joyful and a very interesting experience for me. The next two books on the list are contemporary romances, which I will read for two different book clubs. It's very social in January as well, and that's the beauty of being a member of BookTube community. The first book that I will read is for Single Bitter Ladies Read Romance Book Club, which is co-hosted by Angie at Literary Labors and Rainey at Rainey Day Reads, Grin and Bearded, the second book in the Whiston Brothers series, which is written by Penny Reid. I've enjoyed the first book. The romance was not a favorite of mine, but I really liked the family dynamic of the characters, and I'm very curious to read about a family member which has not been talked very much in the first book, and sort of like a black sheep. So I think it will be a very interesting reading. And the live book discussions in YouTube have been phenomenal so far. I'm definitely reading this book as well. The last addition to the TBR was I decided on the live show of Book Sisters Book Club. It's a very short book, and I found it in my library application in my tablet for free. So I added to my TBR. The name of the book is An Alaskan Twin Surprise by Belle Calhoune. I'm not really sure I'm reading the surname correctly, but maybe you will tell it in the comments. It's a love-inspired romance, which is something that I've never had any interest in reading before. Because, as you can guess, I'm not a Christian. Ever since I enjoyed the first book in Canadian West series, I'm thinking maybe if the book is not preachy, I will really enjoy Christian romances. I prefer the sweeter sides of romance in books. As I've said before, since it's a very short book, I will certainly try it and then join the live show discussion, which I enjoy very much attending. And the last book that I'm going to read for January is one of the January books for my real life book club, Özgürlük Hapishanesi by Michael Ende. I do not know much about this book. My friend who suggested it for the club says that it's a collection of short stories that takes place in very different timelines, and they have a connection somehow. But it also has a very different structure. So I'm very curious about this book actually. You might say, what is the English title of that book? I unfortunately could not find the English copy of that German book in Goodreads. I don't know if it has an English copy actually, but the title of the book from Turkish can be translated as Prison of Freedom. So those were the books that I plan to read for January 2021. And I will join 2 readathons with these books. The first readathon that I'm going to join is a Bookworm's New Year readathon, which is co-hosted by Mindy's Book Journey, Noel 7 Pages, Literary Lizzzy, and David's Book Reviews. There are 9 prompts in this readathon, and I've managed to put all of the books by doubling up in sum. The first prompt is catch up. Read a book that you meant to read in 2020. Obviously, Outlander. Question 2, head start. Read a book that has to do with one of your 2021 reading goals. The 13 Problems by Agatha Christie, since I plan to read 1 book per month from Agatha Christie. Question 3, get it done. Read the physical book you have left unread the longest. I do not have any physical book that I've started but left unread, so I'm cheating a bit and I'm choosing the audiobook, A Little History of Time by E.M. Gombrich. Question 4, Decade Reflection. Reread your favorite book from 2011. I really stretched this prompt, but I'm going to use it. When I looked at my Goodreads page from 2011, I've only added 4 books. Of course, I read more books, but it was the first year that I've joined Goodreads, and I was not using it very often. I saw Emma on that list, and since Austenland is all about Jane Austen, I think I'm going to use Austenland for this prompt. Question 5. Top of your TBR. Read a book that is at the top of your TBR file. I'm definitely going to read the book club book Özgürlük Hapishanesi by Michael Ende. It is the book that is top of my TBR. Question 6. No time like the present. Read a book you're intimidated by. Of course, Outlander, because it's one of my longest books on my TBR. Question 7. Diversity. Read a book by a person of color, fiction or non-fiction. 3 Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. Question 8. Change of scenery. Read a book from a genre that you don't normally read from but always wanted to read. Yeah, the love-inspired romance. An Alaskan Twin Surprise by Belle Calhoune. Question 9. New Beginnings. Read a debut novel, A History of Time by E.M. Gombrich. The second readathon that I'm going to participate is called Past and Future Readathon. It is hosted by Novelle Novels and Read a Book Jam. There are 2 prompts for this readathon, but even if you do 1 prompt, they say that you participate in the readathon. I've chosen 6 prompts. The first prompt that I chose is try a book from an era or event in history you have never heard from. Since A Little History of Time covers many time periods, there is going to be some time periods which I have not read from, so that book fits the prompt perfectly. The second prompt that I've chosen is try a new to you author. Austenland by Shannon Hale. I've never read from Shannon Hale. The third prompt that I chose is read a translated book, 3 Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, since the original work is written in French. The fourth prompt that I chose is read a book that has a new theme to you. In example, magical realism, time travel, or told by a new perspective. Again, Christian romance. An Alaskan Twin Surprise by Belle Calhoune. And the fifth prompt that I chose is read a book by your friend's favorite author that you haven't tried before. I'm going to choose Özgürlük Hapishanesi by Michael Ende. The book club friend that chose this book says that Michael Ende is one of her favorite authors. I'm really curious how he writes, and maybe he will become a favorite of mine as well. And the last prompt that I chose for this readathon is read a new to you middle grade book, The Lightning Thief by Riordan. It's the first book in the series. which I have not read, and I also have not read any book from Riordan before, although I wanted to read for a very long time. So it fits the prompt perfectly. Speaking of prompts, almost all of these books will fit one of the prompts in my bingo card, which is called Berna's Bookish Bingo. Very creative, I know. But with the exception of a few books, I created this TBR much before I did my video and created my bingo card. So for this TBR only, I will not talk about which books I chose for special prompts. But in the future months TBRs, I will do that, and also I will make an update of how I'm doing with my Berna's Bookish Bingo in my mid-month and end-of-month wrap-ups as well. But if you want to know more about my bingo card for 3 months and how I am going to do that over the year, you can check my video, which I will link up in the cards. So these were the books that I'm planning to read for the first month of 2021. Please comment down below, have you read any of the books that I've mentioned? And if you're a new viewer, please like and subscribe. Hope to see you very soon. Bye! As for Turkish word of the day, since one of the long books that I'm going to read is called Three Musketeers, I thought Musketeer should be the word of the day. Musketeer means silahşör in Turkish, and silahşör is our Turkish word of the day. Have a good day.